Okay. All right. Thank you for coming in today for this interview for a special education teacher position. Would you like to tell me about yourself and your teaching experience?
Yes, super happy to be here. My name is Stephanie Garcia. I have worked in special ed for a few years. Um, I think it's really great. I've done it for so long, I can't imagine doing anything else.
Okay. And so have you been a teacher for a few years or what are your experiences? Were you a para?
I was a para and I was a teacher for 2 years.
Nice. Why did you choose to become an elementary school teacher?
because because I think the younger students are a lot more fun. You have a lot more fun
I would
with
agree
it.
with that. It is a lot more fun and a lot more, I guess, like your foundation of what you're giving them is really good to set to be like a part of, their education, like a good foundation for their education.
Yes. And everything is so exciting for them.
It is.
Everything
Yeah.
is so exciting.
Yeah, the little wins
It's all
are,
brand new.
yeah. What do you enjoy most about teaching?
I think it's very fulfilling. I
I would
think
agree.
very fulfilling. It's very rewarding. The schedule is great. Love having fall break. I love having summers off.
Yeah.
I think it's just very rewarding.
Absolutely. What do you think that your strengths are as a teacher?
I think I'm very patient. I think um, I've gotten better at managing those high emotions where I'm a little more level um, and I guess that comes with time. You learn to look at something and see if it's a big problem or a little problem. Like, can it wait or is it urgent? So just patience, I think, is my number one.
And so that kind of ties on, I think, to this next question. So, what do you find most challenging about teaching and how do you handle it?
So I think for me, the most challenging part is the things that you can't change outside of what happens here. Like if a student comes in hungry, or if they haven't seen their mom or their dad in a few weeks, or they haven't done laundry, or they're sick and their parents don't believe them. I think whatever we can't control here is hard because we don't know what students are bringing.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. And we have a lot of that on this side of the district. And, um, it's kind of too whenever they walk through your classroom, what can you do to kind of like combat that? And or even if they do come in with that because it's inevitable, then what do you do to make sure that they have a successful day at like in your classroom for that day?
Right. Yeah. Try to keep it safe, but also exciting. It's
Yeah, kind of have that. What can we do to kind of distract you from everything that's happening and
yeah.
make it a good experience here? So, and like you said, safe so that they can learn. So next we're going to go into classroom management. And so describe your classroom management style. What would you say? Like, are you more relaxed or, like very rigid in schedule? What would you say?
I think I'm a little I'm a little relaxed, but I try to stay on a schedule just so students have that predictability and they know what's coming. And they're not caught off guard or um but yeah, when things don't go your way, also learn to adapt. Like how are you gonna ride out whatever's going on and then try to get back to normal. So I think I'm a little flexible, but I try to stay on schedule as much as I can.
And what components are necessary for a successful classroom? So if you were to walk into someone else's classroom, what would you want to see to make sure that things were happening?
I would love to see a good relationship between the students and the teachers to where where you don't feel the tension, or the kids are in another world where there's a lot of back and forth and very or kids participating and teachers listening and students listening, and I guess collaborative.
Yeah.
A good relationship.
How do you handle classroom discipline? And so I know that kind of looks different in a special education classroom where they might have behavior plans. But what does that look like for you?
Right. It depends on the student. Right. If they're on a BIP, you have to follow what's on there. But for anyone else, I guess I try to see what's causing the behavior, not be so reactive. Try to take a few steps back and see what led them there and how we can avoid that in the future, or try to get them back to a nice calm state so we can figure out what happened. But yeah, try to talk to the students, see where they're coming from.
Yeah. And do you, for the whole class, do you have a set of rules or like expectations and then like consequences that directly tie to that rule? And so if they violate this rule, this is what happens? Or is it really just more like on an individual basis?
Oh, that one is so hard. I think it I'd like to say yes, that there are some things, basic rules like respect your classmates, respect your teacher, don't yell in the hallway. But right, if it happens, it's not the end of the world. Um, but yeah, I guess like if there's a student who does it over and over and over, like it's not can't really, it's not stopping, it's maybe increasing in frequency, like try to figure something out. Like it'll be different for that student where it's very frequent compared to another student where it never happens.
So how do you motivate students to be engaged, or how do you motivate students just in general?
I try to have a good relationship with them, because if you have a good relationship, you have that back and forth and they're comfortable and they're going to open up, and then they'll have that what is like intrinsic value where they want to do good, and it's not just for the teacher, it's for themselves. And yeah, just having that good relationship, I think everything comes after that.
How do you handle disruptive or challenging student behavior? And so if you were doing a whole group lesson and one student is, back here doing whatever, we know what like happens.
Right.
How would you handle that during a whole group lesson?
I would first try to look at the student, acknowledge that it's going on, and if it still happens, maybe a little bit of proximity control, get a little closer. Maybe he needs or she needs a fidget, or maybe she just needs to stand up instead of sit down. And yeah, definitely look at the student and then try proximity control, and then see after that, see if you need to do a little more.
I like it. That's a great answer. Lesson planning and instruction. So how do you differentiate instruction for students at various levels? So we know that in our special education classrooms, we do have students, and even in gen ed, that they're very, very different and their needs are different. And you might have one who, uses a communication device and one who tells you a lot of stories. How do you make sure that everybody is participating in your class?
I think it's easier when you do small group, or where you have that flexible grouping, depending on whatever you're teaching. Like one kid might be great at it, but then next week's lesson, he's not so great at it. So then you got to pair him with someone else, and just flexible grouping, see where everyone's at, depending on what we're teaching. But yeah, try to.
And what about like accommodations? How do you track accommodations to ensure that they're being, I guess, like delivered to each student?
I guess try to have them handy and make sure that everybody knows what they are, like me and the other para or whoever's servicing the student. Yeah, I heard one of my other teachers, one of my other coworkers, my other coworker, sorry, I can't talk. My coworker had the QR code where she would scan it and you'd pull up the Google sheet and track what accommodations you used and if it worked, and then you upload the work sample. So I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very important to like be able to learn and take in from your peers that you work with and like, hey, that's a good idea. That might be something I might be interested in.
Yeah. Send
in
all the
doing.
information to the
Yeah.
same area and then you can track it.
Yeah. What does engagement look like for you? Like student engagement?
It depends on the student. I think some kids, right, obviously they're engaged if they're talking about whatever you're talking about and they're participating, but other students don't feel comfortable sharing out loud. They might do it on one-on-one or might like to write about it. So I guess it just depends on the student.
So like accepting the product or what, what they're
Right.
giving, how they're communicating that they understand and know something.
Right.
So what does a successful lesson look like to you? How do you know that, you do all this planning and everything else? How do you know that like it went well?
For my older students, I liked exit tickets. And then you can see from there if it went well or not. Also, yeah, it's hard. My classroom last year, I had pre-K through fifth, so it looked
Oh.
very different.
Yeah, that is a big range of
Yeah,
not only, ages, but also needs too, I'm sure. How many students did you have?
9,
Oof.
9, yeah,
And that's what? So you said pre-K through fifth?
pre-K through fifth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you have like a certain amount of kids, like more second graders than other grades, or they were really kind of
No, it was
distributed?
I only didn't have second graders, but I had all the other grades.
Oh my gosh. So it was really scattered.
Yeah. I had more younger kids. I only had 2 third graders, a 4th and a 5th, and everybody else was pre-K, kinder, first. No
So
second.
that's a lot of content too, because did you teach all 4 subjects?
Yes, yeah, but we used unique learning, and that's really it differentiates for you pretty
Yeah.
good. They'll have like beginner and intermediate, and then you can change the levels. And when they have to do independent work, everything's on their level, so that does a lot of the work for you.
And so you said earlier you like to do small group instruction, and so is that kind of how so whenever you were working with your maybe upper grades, then what were the other students doing?
Oh, they usually did something else with the paras.
Okay.
Or they might be out at specials, or they might be out in their inclusion class. With all those grades, our schedule was hectic.
And so how many paras
2.
worked with you? Okay. And then did someone else make their schedule, or did you take part in making their schedule?
I did their schedule.
And yours and all the kids?
Right, yeah.
That's very impressive.
It was
like master schedule over it.
and it changes.
Yeah.
It changes so much.
Well, probably too, whenever they have ARDS, if you're proposing any changes, or that's definitely a lot to juggle. So collaboration and communication. So how did you communicate with families and parents?
Just general messages, reminders about field trips and picture day and stuff. I use Remind. I had one parent who refused to get on Remind, so I had to give her a call and tell her. There was my 5th grader. His mom also didn't have Remind, but he was very good at telling her. So I would tell him at the end of the day, like, "Hey, this is going on tomorrow," and he would tell his mom, and he never missed an event. But yeah, Remind. Phone calls. Yeah.
That's nice to have a student who can be responsible and
Right, right.
understands the importance of communication as well. So
Yeah, send slips home in their Tuesday folder. Sometimes the car rider line as they were getting picked up, like, hey, we have this tomorrow, or this is next week, and
nice. And
just remind.
so were a lot of your parents involved? So if y'all had like a classroom party, then did a lot come, or would they?
Yes, they were pretty involved. Yeah, we had a really good turnout. We had some fun parents.
Yeah, that's
they
nice.
were very fun and involved.
So how you said that relationships are very important. And so how did you build that with students? And then we'll take it to families and staff. So we can address students first. How did you make sure that you fostered like that positive relationship with them?
With my students, yeah, just listening to them, not trying to talk over them, like just respecting them, giving them dignity and space, and um, letting them kind of feel. I want them to be
Feel the
heard.
feels and
Yeah, feel safe and be loved and be comfortable sharing, where you're not coming from um, a judgmental state where you just and they pick up on it real quick. Those kids are smart. They know when you're sincere and genuine
yes.
and you care for them. So then parents see that and they say, oh, you have a really good relationship with my kids. They're happy to come to school and they're doing great. So then you also build that relationship with parents, and then um, I think, yeah, it all ties in. I was really lucky last year because I had a great relationship with my students. So then with my parents too, that's why they were so involved and they came and they were on it.
Nice. And then what about with staff? So I'm sure you collaborated with a lot of staff members. And so how did you make sure that you had a good relationship with them to where you could discuss like if anything needed to be discussed like regarding the student? Or with schedules, and stuff like that.
I think just having that back and forth, you don't catch them or you don't hit them with a big thing all of a sudden, like just talking all the time, telling them what's going on. Yeah. Heads up and does
Open
this work?
communication, even like walking, in the halls and saying hi, like those little things definitely matter.
Yeah.
So tell me if there was ever a time that you had a conflict with a colleague or upset parent and how you handled that.
I didn't have too many issues with my colleagues. They were awesome. I had one time, and this might have been that the teacher just didn't know, but I had two students and they had 30 minutes of inclusion time in the morning first thing, and they got there and she said that no, that she was going to cut it short because they had to do testing or something, or they had to do something. And my parent came back, was like, yeah, she told us to come back because we weren't going to do anything. I said, well, no, they're scheduled for those 30 minutes. She can find something for them to do, or whatever they're doing, they can do too, but that's their time. So he went back and explained that to her, and we never had the issue again. And then she just finds something for them to do. And with my parents, there was one time we had a misunderstanding. She missed an event, um, and she found out about it through her sister, and she was angry. She went up to the front office. She was yelling. But here, the issue was that I sent the paper home. I think she just lost it or she didn't read it. But I know I sent it home because it was one of those mass papers, and she was very upset that she missed it. And she just wanted to be mad at someone. But
yeah, it's more so at the situation and
right. Apologized, of course. Like, yeah, we sent this one home last week in the folder, and yeah. It's probably the biggest one.
How would you respond if a parent criticized your teaching? So like if a parent was like, you're not teaching my kid enough, I want my kid to do 5th grade math, then how would you respond to that?
Um, I would try to understand where she was coming from and tell her that that's probably something that we could work on, but you don't just jump from 2nd grade math to 5th grade math. It takes time, and if that's the goal, then that's like something that we can work on.
Yeah. And two, like getting the families, they're receiving special education services because they need to work on those prerequisite skills to get them there. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was a great answer of, they can do it. We're just working toward that. What is the biggest success that you've had in your classroom? What would you say like your biggest success would be?
That's hard because we've had so many little successes.
Yeah.
I had a student, and this was, I guess it's not related to academics or anything, but he, when the year started, very aggressive, very angry, didn't want to do any of the work, and he would hit and scratch, and he was nonverbal, and he had an AAC device. But I would play with him, I would talk to him, and just like slowly build that relationship. And then, but towards the end of the year, like he could speak sentences. And I thought that was so
On
wild.
the device?
And
Oh, wow.
he started speaking. He would talk, and at first he started just repeating whatever you asked him a question, and he would repeat the question, and then he just kept doing that and doing that and doing it. And towards the end of the year, you could ask him a question and he would answer instead of just repeating. And I was not expecting that at all, and it was so fun to watch. And you could tell that he was excited and he was proud of himself. And then also on his AAC device, he would write down a full sentence and do a question mark at the end. And it was so fun to watch. But yeah, I think that was the biggest one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He had so much growth.
Yeah, that's so exciting. So did y'all see his behavior decrease?
Yes.
By the time that happened?
Mhm.
Nice. That's really exciting. How did the parents react?
Oh, they were excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. Every time they're like, "Oh, he's talking so much, and he's
Oh,
doing this, and he loves coming here." And
were there any strategies or anything that you did to kind of get him to that point? Or like, did y'all work with his AAC device more or prompt him to speak in complete sentences more? Or how did you get there?
oh, well, with the AAC device, sometimes he would just, if he wanted something, he would point at it. We're like, "Oh, go get your device. Go get your device. What do you need?" Or he would do that, and a lot of it was the relationship, like him feeling comfortable, and like looking, and when he's like trying to tell you something, just look at him, not
Yeah.
ignore him, and so just like placing value on what he's trying to say.
Yeah. And sometimes in those classrooms it's not easy, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And so that might happen, a lot to where there's something happening over here and you're having to turn. But yeah, it is important to like make every kid feel like they're, valued and listened to and everything like that. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. But and too earlier, like you said, like there's a lot of like successes, and so I think that's also important is to just like celebrate every little thing.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome. So what do you think that your current supervisor would say about you? Or let's start with supervisor and then we can, if you kind of want to piggyback on that, what would your peers, like your teachers and the pairs that you worked with say about you?
I think my parents would have good things to say about me. We had a really good relationship. We had a lot of fun. We still text like every day. We have a group chat. I think my supervisor would, I think she would say good things about me. She was a little bummed out that I was going to another school,
It happens.
but yeah. But yeah, even I think just having that good relationship. I like most of my coworkers. We have a lot of fun. We try to focus on the positive and keep it fun, keep it friendly, because there's always gonna be something you can complain about.
That's very true.
Try not to go down that path because you don't want to bring everyone down with you.
Yeah. So how do you think that you would contribute to like the school culture and climate?
I think I would contribute to it just by talking to other people, see what they got going on. What are they up to? What are their successes? What do they need help with? And yeah, I think just engaging with. I think that's what I would do.
Team player, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any questions or concerns about taking the position?
No, I don't think. All right, I know all students are different, all schools are different, all classes are different, but I think with that like flexibility and yeah, I think maybe the questions wouldn't come until I was in the classroom and meeting the students and be like, oh, I've never dealt with an issue like this. Like you almost have to get in there and see what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes that's really how it is. And it's like if there's not enough schooling or, even being a para in the classroom, and then you get to being a teacher and you're like, oh, hold on. This is a whole new. But the good thing is that you've kind of seen on the para side and as a teacher, and you have those foundational skills. I will say, like, you being here, you would have a mentor teacher your first year, and so that would be someone to kind of like show you the ropes with the way that we do paperwork, or someone to help you with scheduling or help you with like, say this parent there's like a situation with this parent and everything, just to kind of like talk to them and see how to handle it best. Confidentiality is important, and so maybe like leaving student names out or specific names out, but it is someone that you could kind of go to with that. And we have monthly meetings that we'll all get together and kind of go through paperwork or go through lesson plans or even go through like the curriculum and kind of look at it, take a deeper dive. I know that y'all have modified or alternate curriculum, but we want our students to know, whenever they're going into inclusion time, then, these are the things we work on. And so for them to go in there and have like a base of what they're doing. So like say you're talking about the plant life cycles and then you have plants and animals and stuff like that. Like we want you to know where to get those resources to where you can kind of fill that gap and they'll feel supported in that class.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then on a special education level, we have we'll have meetings once a month as well to kind of discuss like what's going on in the department and kind of like get on track with the way that people are taking data, and so that everybody can be, not like everybody's not always going to do it the same, but as much on the same page as we can get to where it's being done, it goes smooth. Right. So your para's not taking data differently than you are, and so that way everybody can be utilized. If you're having to deal with a behavior, that way they can kind of take over that and you can kind of like switch if that needs to happen. Right. And then two, if there's just any other like major things that need to be talked about or major updates from like the team lead, and so she'll kind of like discuss those and present on those if there's any new, I guess, like things that need to be done. So, I think that is all. You don't have any questions? I know you kind of don't know until you get into it. And so that's definitely real.
What is the culture like here? Is it a tight family? Is everybody kind of on their own? Is it, because I know principal kind of sets the tone for
Yes.
what's going on.
I would say that. So, I know like you hear it a lot, probably like, oh, we're like a family, we're like, but we really are. And so we do have, like whenever you see each other in the hallways, even the custodians, like we all say good morning. We all say hi if we walk by each other. We have, a little Facebook page that we post our little spacemen on, when they get pack points or, I would say that we're like a family. If anybody needs anything, we're all just a text away. And so that's what is really nice here is that if you need support, there will probably be a line out your door if you say that and you make that voice. You might not want that, but
that's awesome.
But yeah, and so it is a great place to be, and I definitely think you'd be like a great asset to the school, and like just you seem so positive, and you kind of talked about how relationships are so important to you, and so that's definitely what you need with a family, right? You need positive relationships, and so I definitely think that you fit into what we like to have here, and so.
Nice. Wonderful.
If you're okay with us moving forward and checking references, then I would like to do that.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
How exciting.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
All righty. Thank you for having me.